Sing with us. This is the time to rock out. You're welcome to sit. You're welcome to dance. But we're going to take it. Here we go. Here we go. Rising up, back on the street. Took my time, took my chances. Went the distance, now I'm back on my feet. Just a man. So many times it happens too fast. You trade your passion for glory. Don't lose your grip on the dreams of the past. You must fight just to keep them alive. Sing it! It's the eye of the tiger. It's the thrill of the fight. Rising up to the challenge of our rival. And the last known survivor stops his prey in the night. And he's watching us all with the eye of the tiger. Face to face, out in the heat. Hanging tough, staying hungry. We stack the odds till we take to the street. Kill with the skill to survive. It's the eye of the tiger. It's the dream of the fight. Rising up to the challenge of our rival. And the last known survivor stops his prey in the night. And he's watching us all with the eye of the tiger. Rising up, straight to the top. Had the guts, got the glory. With the distance, now I'm not gonna stop. Just a man and his will to survive. It's the eye of the tiger. It's the dream of the fight. Rising up to the challenge of our rival. And the last known survivor stops his prey in the night. And he's watching us all with the eye of the tiger. 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 All right. Nice job, everybody, and welcome to Sunday Assembly Nashville. You can go ahead and stay standing because we got another one. You might notice a theme for today, so we're going to keep it roaring. You see what I did there?
Keep it
Snappy
rolling.
patter, snappy patter. That's what Stephen always tells me. We ready?
I think we are.
I used to bite my tongue and hold my breath, scared to rock the boat and make a mess. So I said quietly, agree politely. I guess that I forgot I had a choice. I let you push me past the breaking point. I stood for nothing, so I fell for everything. You held me down, but I got up, already pushing off the door. thunder gonna shake the ground. You held me down, but I got up. Get ready, 'cause I've had enough. I see it all, I see it now. I got the eye of the tiger, fire, dancing through the fire. I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar. Louder, louder than a lion. I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. You're gonna hear me roar. Now I'm floating like a butterfly, stinging like a bee, ever in the stripes. I went from zero to my own hero. You held me down, but I got up. Already pushing off the dust. You hear my voice, you hear that sound. Like thunder gonna shake the ground. You held me down, but I got up. Get ready, 'cause I've had enough. I see it all, I see it now. I got the eye of the tiger, fighter, dancing through the fire. I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar. Louder, louder than a lion, 'cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. You're gonna hear me roar. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 you'll hear me roar. You're gonna hear me roar. Roar, 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 roar. I got the eye of the tiger, fighter, dancing through the fire. 'Cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar. Louder, louder than a lion. 'Cause I am a champion, and you're gonna hear me roar. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. You're gonna hear me roar. Louder than a lion. You're gonna hear me roar.
Nice job, Kate. You all sound great.
I have to tell everybody.
All right, you all can go have a seat. I'm going to go ahead and welcome to the stage one of the very, oh, I'm sorry.
I have a little story. When I sing in the bathtub, and my cat usually will walk in and out of the bathroom when I do it, and it's just, she's really relaxed and casual. When I was rehearsing doing this song in the bathtub, she would leap up onto the edge of the bathtub and be like, "Are you okay? Are you all right? Do you need some help?" So I had to
I'm
practice
sorry,
it.
we have one more to do, right, to lead us in. My apologies. So, you can go ahead and sit back, sing along with this. I think you're going to find it familiar. We've got a very special juggist with us today. Oh my gosh, a new baby is here! That's amazing. Welcome, guys. So we have a world-renowned juggist, juggerific, bottle of brew meister with us for this, again, themed song and event. You're more than welcome to sing along, but please welcome Clayton on the, what is it? Bottle. The bottle. All right.
Where did you study, Clayton? Was it in the hills of Appalachia?
Down in the holler. Yeah.
Down the holler.
Yeah.
Excellent. I love that. Nashville cats, they clean as country water. Nashville cats, play wild as Mountain Dew. Nashville cats, been playing since age babies. Nashville cats, get work before they're due. 1,352 guitar pickers in Nashville. And they could pick more notes than the number of ants on a Tennessee anthill. Well, there's 1,352 guitar cases in Nashville. And anyone that unpacks his guitar can play twice as better than I will. I was just 13, you might say I was a musical proverbial knee-high. Well, I heard a couple new sounding tunes on the tubes and they blasted me sky high. Well, the record man said everyone was a Yellow Sun record from Nashville. And up north here ain't nobody buys them, but I said, but I will. And it was Nashville cats, they clean as country water. Nashville cats, they wild as Mountain Dew. Nashville cats, been playing since his babies. Nashville cats, get work before they're two. Well, there's 16,822 mothers from Nashville. And all the friends play music and it ain't uptight if one of the kids will. Cause it's custom made for every mother's son to be a guitar picker in Nashville. And I sure am glad I got a chance to say a word about the music and the mothers from Nashville. Nashville cats, they clean as country water. Nashville cats, they wild as Mountain Dew. Nashville cats, been playing since they's babies. Nashville cats, get work before they're two. Pick it.
Hi, thank you, everybody. We are the Unnamed Assembly Band. You'll hear us a little bit later, but now I get the privilege to welcome one of the very best hosts that you'll see here at Sunday Assembly Nashville. Please welcome Melissa Cook. Oh, meow!
Come on, we worked hard for this punt.
Attention to the program.
All right, my name is Melissa, and I'll be your host today. Now, exits are to your right, excuse me. And around the corner of the bathrooms, use whichever ones fit you. There's coffee if you're thirsty. We have kids' activities in the room past the food room. So what is Sunday Assembly? It's a secular congregation that celebrates life. Our motto, live better, help often, and wonder more. Our mission is to help everyone fulfill and find their full potential. And we are 100% a celebration of life. We were born from nothing. We go back to nothing. What have we lost? Nothing. Always look on. I told y'all, I'm going to sing that every single time. We have no doctrine. We have no set text, so we can make use of whatever wisdom from all sources. We have no deity. We don't do the supernatural, but we won't tell you wrong if you do. It is radically inclusive. Everyone is welcome, regardless of their beliefs. This is a place of love that is open and accepting. We are free to attend, not for profit and volunteer run. We do ask for donations to cover our cost and support our community work. We have a community mission. Through our action heroes, we will be a force for good. We are independent. We do not accept sponsorship or promote outside businesses, organizations, or services. We are here to stay. With your involvement, the Sunday Assembly will make the world a better place. We won't tell you how to live, but we will try to help you live as well as you can. And remember point 1, the Sunday Assembly is a celebration of the one life we know we have. And so can I see a hand of anybody who's here for the first time today? Woo-hoo! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Thank you all for coming today. So if you come, we have different, besides this once a month thing, we have our program that has inserts of all of our different activities. Most of these are posted up through the Meetup app, and we just put them here. Always check Meetup for anything last minute. I just did, if you're a Harry Potter nerd and you're playing that online game, I've got another one for Saturday. And then we have Felicia. She's going to talk about all of our social media blips here.
That's not true, but I'll still talk about our social media. I'm here to do something that I feel super awkward about, and that is I need to promote something for myself. I was very honored to, hey Jackson, hit the slide. I was very honored to be asked to participate in an upcoming panel through the Ask and Wonder series, where Gail Jordan and I of Sunday Assembly Nashville, both she and I will be representing Team Secular. And there will be some Christian ladies there, and we will be having a discourse on feminism and religion. Yes, it's so exciting. So now that I've accepted this opportunity, I need to promote it and make my friends come. So this is the time where I am peer pressuring you. Please come, and I'm really excited. I hope that we're going to have a great discussion and find some commonalities. So it is coming up August 1st. It'll be down in Brentwood, and I would love if you came. And now Melissa is going to tell you about our social media.
We have, oh, I forgot to ask that. So where is it? It's somewhere on the back. Yes, so we have our Facebook group. We have the regular Facebook group, and then there's a secret Facebook group. So we post more stuff there. If you'd like to join, just get with one of the members that are listed on the committees. That's on the back of the little insert there. So if you need any volunteering, if you're good with sound and production or want to come early and help us set up, because as you see, we have lots of chairs to set up, we welcome your time and volunteering with that. And now we are going into our main program, Big Cats, yay! Why Big Cats? Well, why not? They're fun. Who doesn't like Lion King? Truthfully, it started in October last year. I had something I needed to give to a friend, so we went out to lunch, and another friend's like, oh, can I come too? I've got something else to give back to her. So we're at lunch, and they asked me how things are going with Wonder More Committee, and I happened to mention that December was going to be making your own holiday. Oh, like Wolf and Newt? What's Wolf and Newt? A kid made a holiday for wolves and dogs. He celebrated by eating roast meat and having a cake decorated like a full moon. We should do that, but for cats. And we should celebrate it on Bastille Day. Why Bastille Day? Because Baz was the Egyptian goddess of cats, and Baz is in there, so it's kind of funny. It's like, okay, I think that's in July. It's like, yeah, it's a second Sunday. Ooh, can you ask Teresa if we can have somebody from the zoo come speak on cats? Okay. And this is why Teresa will not take a thematic idea without having a speaker lined up. Because we had everybody doing a reading or trying my best. We didn't have the speaker. So while there were some ups and downs, we got to this point where we have our Big Cat Assembly, and you can thank or blame Framco, because he's not here. He is the whole reason for the luncheon. He wasn't even there. Our reader today who was at that lunch is Jen Brown. She's going to be reading The Naming of Cats by T.S. Eliot.
So I will gladly admit to being the punny one. And it's actually not a reading, it's a recitation. If you've ever seen the musical Cats, this is from theirs. So, The Naming of Cats by T.S. Eliot. The naming of cats is a difficult matter. It isn't just one of your holiday games. You may think at first I'm as mad as a hatter when I tell you a cat must have 3 different names. First of all, there's the name that the family uses daily, such as Peter, Augustus, Alonzo, or James, such as Victor or Jonathan, George or Bill Bailey, but all of them sensible, everyday names. There are fancier names if you think they sound sweeter, some for the gentleman, some for the dame, such as Plato, Admetus, Electra, Demeter, but all of them sensible, everyday names. I tell you, a cat needs a name that's particular, a name that's peculiar and more dignified, else how can he keep up his tail perpendicular and spread out his whiskers or cherish his pride? Of names of this kind, I can give you a quorum, such as Monkastrap, Quaxel, or Coracle Pat, such as Bum Ballerina, or else Jelly Lorem, names that will never belong to more than one cat. But above and beyond, there's still one name left over, and that is the name that you never will guess. A name that no human research can discover, but the cat himself knows and will never confess. When you notice a cat in profound meditation, The reason I tell you is always the same. His mind is engaged in a rapt contemplation of the thought, of the thought, of the thought of his name, his ineffable, effable, and ineffable, deep and inscrutable, singular name.
Thanks, Jen. And our speaker today is another Meowlissa. Did you get that pun at all? Okay. She's a carnivore keeper at the Nashville Zoo. Please give a warm welcome to Melissa's talk.
Hi, everyone. So I have the great privilege of working with all sorts of different carnivores at the Nashville Zoo, as well as some big cats that we have there. And then I also have experience with a lot of big cats at other facilities that I've worked at. So I'm going to talk specifically about lions for the most part today. Lions, you may or may not know, are the only truly social cat in the wild. They're really, really cool, so they have some cool stuff going on, whereas most other cats are solitary and they have their own kind of quirks when dealing with each other. Lions are super cool. All right. So, oops. So there's two kind of different kind of prides that you'll find in the wild. You have your traditional prides, which are kind of what you see the most often, which is a lot of different females. They're all related females, so mothers, daughters, sisters, aunts, and then usually one or two males. They're going to be kind of that dominant male that hangs out with a bunch of little ladies. But then there's also bachelor pride. So any of the males that aren't strong enough to be kind of ruling over their own pride will kind of band up together. A lot of times it'll also be related males, so it'll be brothers and cousins that came from the same pride and got kicked out around the same time. They have each other. But sometimes even older males, ones that get displaced by younger, stronger rivals, will sometimes join bachelor prides as well, so they still kind of have that support group, which is great because these are cats that are kind of geared towards doing cooperative hunting and all that other fun stuff. So you think about males as being on their own, but even when they don't have ladies to take care of, they have each other that they can kind of fall back on, which is pretty neat. So the hierarchy of lions is kind of interesting. So females, we kind of typically see them as like the workers. You kind of see that male as has that stigma of being lazy, just kind of lays by as the females will go off and hunt and do all the work. But there's actually a really cool kind of hierarchy system going on. So the females do most of the hunting. Males sometimes will help, but a lot of times they're kind of hanging out on the sidelines. But there's a really good reason for that. Males, their main goal, their main purpose in the pride is to protect their ladies and protect their cubs. So the females actually don't want them expending energy, getting tired, going on hunts. They want them to be in peak physical condition. They can jump out at a moment's notice and take care of any threats that come by. So females don't want them to be doing work. So they're not so much lazy as just conserving energy and being ready for anything. And then the females, they will kind of have different roles. So depending on their place in the hierarchy, their ages, some of them might be more kind of geared towards hunting and taking down prey. Then you'll also have females that will be kind of the child caretakers. So because they live in a big group, they'll actually take care of each other's offspring. All the females will kind of cooperatively do daycare. So especially some of the younger females, if they're not quite old enough to be really great hunters, they'll stay back with all the cubs and younger individuals, keeping them safe while some of the older females will go off and actually do the hunting. And you'll actually see that hierarchy comes into play when you actually see them enjoying a kill after they've found some prey. So the male is going to eat first because, again, they want him to be full of energy and ready in peak physical condition. And then usually the females that actually did the hunting, they'll eat next. And then the babysitters and younger cubs will eat last. The males typically only stick in a pride for around 2 years on average. That's really just long enough to be able to successfully raise maybe a litter or two, kind of generationally. It's such a competitive life for males. They want to get into a pride and start spreading their genes. They're constantly dealing with other males trying to come in and take over. So really they can only maintain that peak physical condition for about 2 years before they get kicked out. And then again, hopefully they'll find a bachelor pride that they can kind of take over. So there's a good amount of turnover, which is great because if you think about a bunch of related females and one male, you don't really want that one male to be sticking around a super long time if all the females are related. So that is a really great tool for just keeping genetic diversity, males that kind of keep going through. Like I said, you usually see 1 or 2 males that'll be in charge of a pride. We kind of think traditionally it's just 1 male, but a lot of times you will find 2, maybe even 3. And this is because brothers will often stick together. So it's not uncommon to see a big pride of females, 5 to 10 females and like up to 3 males. But it's kind of cool. You'll only actually have 1 male out of that group that'll actually be breeding. The other 2 will just be there for backup, for defense, keeping other males away, helping to defend from predators. They still get all the benefits of being a male in a lion pride, so they don't have to hunt. They can just have their food brought to them. They get to eat first. But those kind of the non-dominant males just won't be able to breed. That's the only difference. But it works out really well, especially because they are brothers. Their genetics are the same, so they don't really have a genetic need to breed themselves because their genes are getting passed on through their brother. So it's mutual. It's nice. So there are a good amount of benefits that come with living in this pride lifestyle. So when you have a lot of individuals, they are able to maintain a really large territory. Depending on the number of individuals, they can maintain territory along really important resources, so watering holes, grazing passages, areas that are frequented by prey. If it was just an individual lion by themselves, they wouldn't be able to kind of rule over an area. They'd have to travel much, much farther to actually get to any food that they'd be able to take down. Whereas lions, if they have a good enough system, they can kind of just plot themselves at a really common watering hole. They don't really have to move very far at all. They just have to get up, chase down prey every once in a while, and they just go back and lay down. So they are still cats at heart. They don't want to do a lot of effort in their life. They're going to be sleeping about 20 hours a day, so they want to find a really nice place to chill out. They'll get up, do a little bit of work every once in a while, and then they go back to sleep. So having those numbers helps them maintain that kind of lifestyle where they don't actually have to move a whole lot. It also helps with defense. There's a lot of other predators, especially in Africa, so they're having to deal with wild dogs, hyenas, leopards that would also like to steal their kills if they could. So having all those extra individuals in the area helps to prevent from that. Especially if you look at smaller, like bachelor prides of males. Sometimes they're not able to defend their kills from large clans of hyenas. They'll get chased off. So having a nice, big, strong pride helps with that. There is a evolutionary theory behind this as well. So Richard Dawkins kind of wrote a book about, it's called The Selfish Gene. And so this actually goes into all the details of why having this kind of social structure would be beneficial. And it really all just goes down to our genes, right? So our genes, all they want to do, they don't really care about us as people. They just want to proliferate. They want to spread throughout the world and be as prevalent as possible. So as a species, that works really well if you have other individuals that kind of help to protect the cubs as they grow up. So having extra females around will make sure that more cubs are surviving. They're not going to be cut down by other predators or by rival males if they're able to kind of stick together. Males will actually come in if they're trying to take over pride. If they're able to displace the male, they'll actually go in and try to kill all the cubs so that they don't have to worry about taking care of cubs that aren't theirs. Again, makes sense. They don't want to be proliferating genes that aren't theirs, right? That they want their babies. But having that big social structure helps kind of maintain that a little bit more. Cool. But despite all those advantages, they're still the only cat that is truly social. So it's kind of weird. A lot of cats do really well as solitary cats. And there's advantages to that as well. You don't have to worry about taking care of anyone else. You can kind of just move a lot more freely. There are some cats that are just prone to a lot more aggressive natures, and so it can be dangerous for them to be around each other. Those aggressive natures can be really helpful to protect themselves and go after prey, but not so much when it comes to hanging out with other cats. Tigers, for example, are a really great example of that. It's actually really dangerous when tigers get together, even in the wild. A lot of times they can accidentally kill each other if the hormones aren't quite right because they're being drawn together, but then if it's not quite right, they'll attack each other. So obviously that's not helpful if you have a lot of tigers around at the same time. And so now I'll talk a little bit more about other exceptions in those kind of big cat and small cat species that are normally solitary, but you will kind of see weird kind of social stuff going on. So there is some really cool research coming out now, and just within the last couple of years with cougars. Cougars are one of those cats that's long been held to believe to be solitary. They'll go off their own, they only come together for breeding. Females will have their cubs around for a year and a half maybe before they kick them out. But with some really cool camera trap footage, specifically that's been placed in Yellowstone, we've actually found footage of cougars, female cougars, more often, but actually sharing kills with each other and with unrelated individuals. And they've kind of tracked these individuals and noted that the ones that are willing to share with other individuals actually have that behavior reciprocated down the way. So it's this really, really interesting relationship that is still being researched, and there's not a whole lot of benefit to it other than possibly getting that reciprocal behavior down the line, at least that they've seen. So that's all still very recent research. That's really cool. And then there's another cool one with cheetahs are another animal that's very solitary. But males will actually form, not quite bachelor prides like with lions, but they'll form what are called coalitions. So direct brothers, so same litter mate brothers, when they get kicked out of the area by mom, they'll actually stick together as well. So you'll have 2 or 3 males, typically not more than that gets a little bit crowded. But they'll actually stick together and they'll do a little bit of cooperative hunting with each other. They're not nearly as successful as a huge pride of lions, but they will still go after prey together and share it. And you'll only see that with the males. Females do not do that. So that's really interesting as well, that clearly that's a benefit for males, but females are just like, meh, I don't need that. I'm empowered on my own. And then the last cat that I wanted to talk about is the clouded leopard. So this is a cat that we have at the Nashville Zoo that we are very proud of. We have a very successful breeding program with these guys, and they're a very, very interesting cat. They're, again, one of those species that I kind of mentioned before where they are kind of inherently prone to stress reactions when they come in contact with other cats. So they typically will not get along with each other unless those hormones are absolutely perfect. So of course that makes breeding hard. There are species that we want to help proliferate in the wild and in captivity. We're working on creating reservoir populations here at our zoo and at other institutions. We've actually found that if we're able to get 2 clouded leopards, a male and a female, that are genetic matches for each other, because we always look at the genetics before we breed anything, if they're good genetic matches for each other, if we're able to pair them up, introduce them before they're a year old, they're actually able to finish growing up with each other a little bit, they bond with each other, and then we're actually able to keep them together 24/7. They're no longer a purely solitary cat, and they breed no problem. They no longer have that stress related when their hormones start going up and they just want to be with each other all the time. So it's really, really cool that obviously this is a species that wouldn't normally do that in the wild, but we found with a little bit of intervention, we're able to kind of augment their social structure a little bit, and they have benefited from it by huge amounts. We've actually seen the cortisol levels, so the stress hormone in their blood system actually decrease throughout their lifespan when treated this way, which is really, really cool. So not every cat needs to be purely solitary, and we can see that there's kind of benefits whenever any kind of species has some kind of social kind of confluence with each other, which is really cool. Do you guys have any questions? No?
Cool. All right. If you think of any questions afterwards, she'll be at the potluck afterwards too. All right, so now we have our moment of silence. So you can contemplate everything you just heard in our talk, or you can look at cat pictures by Felicia, maybe. There we go. So this is the time of our assembly when we have a member come up and talk about things in their life and how they're trying my best. So this is going to be Ashley talking about her cat, Lyra.
Yes. Alrighty. I don't know if she'll be able to compete with those other cats, but we shall see. All right. My cat's name is Lyra. Lyra Silvertongue, to be exact. I think a picture of her's coming soon. Huh? Yes, I do. How do you work it? Got some cheeky mansplainers up in here. Yes, it does, but it's okay. Well, here's a picture. Okay. Alrighty, so not only is she named after my favorite book, but it reflects what happens when I first met her. She was a tiny orange kitten among 3 others who'd just gotten out of foster care. The 3-month-old little thing was excitable and was a huge climber. The moment I picked her up, she started licking my face, and I knew I was going to adopt her that very second. I knew because I was familiar enough with cats to know they don't just give themselves willy-nilly. Granted, we had just met, but Lyra, then named Dharma, trusted me enough to show herself in such a way. As she got older, she became more dog-like. She came when she was called, the licking didn't go away, and she had tried and failed to get along with the other cat in the house. And she also liked to help me crochet. There's a little picture there of her helping me crochet, if you can see it. She continued to be active and found it impossible to sit still when I was around. I attempted to leash train her, but I became self-conscious about being the only person in the park with a cat on a leash. Lyra didn't care, of course. She climbed a tree and was having the time of her life. Too bad my own insecurities kept her from experiencing that again. I should have started to learn from my cat in that moment, that if you're going to do something you enjoy, you should never lead to insecurity. So what if no one else is walking a cat? She likes the park, so take her to the park. There were other difficulties, though, such as her not caring about the leash and just walking off into other people's spaces, but those could have been dealt with. However, my relationship with Lyra changed when I moved to Portland, and there's a little picture of her in the airplane cage. This was her in her little airline bunker. She was not a happy camper the whole time, despite being drugged out of her mind. Her entire world changed, and she was mewing and hissing the whole way. On top of a new apartment, my new job told me to go to a town 3 hours away for additional training after a week after I got there. Since Lyra was having difficulty adjusting, I asked what to do with her. Their answer? Take her with you! So you have a scared kitty who's just getting used to a new apartment and getting used to a hotel and these 2 coworkers I was traveling with. To say the least, the kitty was the first warning sign that Portland wasn't going to work out. She was not happy the entire time, and having any time someone new came into the apartment, she would hiss and get aggressive. It wasn't super different from my state of mind at the time. I was drinking more, I was isolated because of my insane schedule, and I was miserable due to a job I was growing to hate. Just like Lyra, I was being jerked around with no choice in the matter, my needs completely ignored. The fact is, I'm a lot like Lyra in that way. Comfort, familiarity, and company are important to me. My need for these things was seen as a weakness for a long time, so I continuously sought out new experiences. Now I do think this is important still, but still needs to be an element of balance so I can be mentally well, comfort in the new. This played a part in my decision to come back to Nashville. In my lowest moment, I wanted to go to the last place I felt at home. During this journey, Lyra stayed in several more hotels, but for some reason she wasn't as angry as before. Granted, she didn't want to go back to the cage every day, but I wasn't exactly thrilled about being stuck in a car either. At the time, I stayed at Felicia's house, so began the segment of the saga of Max and Lyra, Max being the golden retriever who lives with Felicia. That went on for a few months, and obviously Lyra loved the dog. Hashtag sarcasm. Where Lyra rejected the friendship of a loving golden retriever because the darkness this journey took her on. Or it could be just because she's a cat. That brings us to today. Lyra is still not the same as she was before Portland, and I'm not either. I found that I'm less of a risk taker, more anxious, more sensitive to failure, and putting more emphasis on comfort than anything else. And a recent breakup didn't help this matter. As I've been working to balance out the wanderlust that I've lost, Lyra is doing it for me. She's been continuing her old ways of jumping, climbing, antagonizing other cats, and figuring out nice ways to tell me to give her food already. But I will say that when I see the cat all the time, when I see this cat moving on with her own life despite felines being notorious for anxiety, it makes me think that I should learn my lesson already and continue to learn from Lyra Silvertongue.
Sad we didn't get to see the cat picture of her and staring down Max.
I'll pass it around to Pablo.
There you go. There you go. All right, so thank you for everyone for coming to Sunday Assembly today. Band, Jason Keith on sound. We're going to have our potluck after assembly, and this is going to be the time right now when we're going to take donations. We're going to be passing the hat. Lori likes to say, wherever, yeah, you can come on up. Wherever two or more are gathered, there are expenses.
And how we pay for those expenses, I'll just keep this really short, but great meeting. I love cats, don't have any right now. We have people who are passing hats around. You can put cash in there or a check made out to Sunday Assembly Nashville. All of the money that is donated does stay here in Nashville. There's also a young man in the back with gray hair that can take credit card donations if you'd like. There's also a flyer out near on the name tag table that you can take this to be reminded to sign up on a monthly recurring basis. And yeah, if you do that, you get the cool green name tag. So, but any name tag is good. So we're really happy to have you here. And for everyone, have we done the new count yet? Has somebody done that yet? Okay, you've done that already. But for all of the new people, this can be a very life-changing experience, even if you just come once in a while. It's an awesome group of people, so keep coming back. We're glad you're here. Thank you.
So wrapping that up, just remind you again of any other events that are coming up are still in your agenda there. And there's also the mentioning donations. Do we have our? I think they mentioned too is that if you go to Amazon Smile, we're a member there. So if you buy stuff on Amazon still, a little bit of that'll get kicked back to us. All right. So some time ago when our theme was community, the question was asked, how many of us are not originally from this area? So I'm going to ask this again. Who is not native Nashville? Nearly everybody in this room. We found this community of like-minded people, whether it be Meetup, the back of American Atheist magazine, or through word of mouth. A lot of people gave up their family when they came out as non-believers or have to hide it still from certain members of their family. Like the cats in our talk today, we've made a new little family. Recently, some members were planning a date for an event, and a person couldn't make it on that date. They said, "Don't worry about it." And the reply was, "No, you're my sister. We'll move the date." My husband, Stephen, and I, we're your cousins now. In November, we host our Thanksgiving at our house for Sunday Assembly members. So if you don't have a welcoming place to go, stop on by. Same for Christmas Day. There are plenty of mothers here who will give you a mom hug or a shoulder to cry on. We will be here when your car breaks down and we have to go pick you up. We will be there for you when you have no one else to call. You're in our pride now. So let us bring up the band for some more music, and we'll have our potluck so you can be among family.
Thank you, Meowlissa, Ashley, and Jen. That was awesome. Shout out to Jen for having that entire thing memorized. She has listened to that Cat soundtrack more than we probably know. No, awesome today, and I think Melissa just had a great way of, kind of summarizing everything about what this community represents to so many of us. So we'll lighten it up. Let Stephen sing some high notes for a second here. We'll play backup for him, and feel free to sing along with us as well.
Okay.
In the jungle, the mighty jungle, the lion sleeps tonight. In the jungle, the quiet jungle, the lion sleeps tonight.
Hey, away up.
Near the village, the peaceful village, the lion sleeps tonight. Near the village, the quiet village, the lion sleeps tonight. Hush, my darling, don't fear, my darling, the lion sleeps tonight. Hush, my darling, don't fear, my darling, the lion sleeps tonight.
Nice job, everybody. All right, we've got one more song, and thank you so much to the band and Stephen, our musical director, Jason, Jordan, Felicia, Jackson crushing it in the back, all the people that work tirelessly both in front of the house and behind the scenes to make some of this possible. You may have heard already that we have we do this every single month. It's all volunteer, and we have a big international conference coming up in October. We will have all sorts of needs for musical, technical, talent, and if you're available and willing to help and contribute to this crazy little thing we do, please see Steven. Check out Jason in the back. We're more than happy to bring you in and plug you in for sure. We're going to do one final song in honor of, well, the Cats idea, but we're going to do a familiar one with a little bit of a twist to it. So feel free if you guys want to stand up and let's make this last one kind of fun, and we're going to go with it.
Tyler has a very important part in this song. My
Thank you all for coming. We'll see you next week. Stick around for potluck. I think we're going to do some clearing out of some chairs and some tables. Melissa, do you want to take this?
Yes, so if we can put up the chairs and help us bring out some tables so we can all sit around and eat. Oh, childcare.
We are completely volunteer run. If you would like to get involved, take note of these names. They're also in your program. These are who you're going to contact to get involved.
Thank you.